So the lease on your property is expiring, and it's time to determine whether or not you want to keep your tenant in the property at the same rate, increase the rent, or drop the price. And right now, I want to bring some data and show you some information this week that supports what we think is the best idea right now. Keep in mind, right now we're in this moment of transition. We've been talking a lot about these short-term rentals that are hitting the market, being added to the market, which is bringing more rentals on the high side than we've seen in the past. So let's use that as one talking point. The other one is seasonality. So how is seasonality affecting this? Well, here in the Phoenix area, this is the busy season. The summertime is usually when we are getting the most rental applications, when people are moving, right? It's summertime. It's time for the kids to be out of school and to move from one house to the next, or to come across country and come to sunny Arizona. So we get a lot of move-ins at this time. So with those two things in mind, looking at, knowing that Arizona is a hotbed of activity, 100%, I'm going to show you a couple of graphs, and I want to show you a couple of things that I think are going to help in figuring out what this looks like. Okay, so what we've been seeing is, and with our leasing team, there's a common thread that we've been mentioning and talking to people about here for the last few weeks. And when we're running rental comps, we're not finding rental comps to support some of the prices that we're renting our properties or asking for. What does that mean? That means that the rental comps, the rental properties that have rented over the last, call it, month to 6 weeks, the trends look like they are coming down. So when they close, and they close on the MLS, which again is less than maybe 20% of the active inventory on the rental market here in the Valley, we're seeing the values come down to where what we're listing properties for may not support it. We're shooting for this number that may look a little bit higher than where our rental comps are pushing. And this is something that we're seeing, we have been for a minute, and right now we're starting to see it more. So when we're looking at, hey, what price should we lease a house, the comps that we're finding are not necessarily strong enough to support some of the values that we're seeing. So take it for what it is. Let's look at some numbers though. So look at active inventory for residential rental. And this isn't the best graph, but this is straight out of the MLS for this one. We're looking at April 23rd, we're seeing 6,204, 6,400 in May. So we went up, by 250, 300 or so. When we look at prices for residential rental, we are seeing, at least over the month of May, we did see a little bit of a dip. So look at that here. It was reflective in the residential rental pricing on the MLS. And this is actives, and this is news. So this is how many this is the new median list price versus the active median list price. Okay, so the new stuff, like us, when we're putting new stuff on the market, we're still thinking that the price is a little bit higher than it is, but it's not. And the market for actives is dropping. When we see let's see here, days on market after the first of the year, so here was December, here's January, we're seeing up, and this isn't the best way to show you, is it? Let's see here. But check it out. So if we see this plateau of days on market, this shows that, okay, this was the longest that it was taking to rent out a property, 43 days average. Then it started dropping as we were aware, and now look at what it's done, 37 or 35 to 35. So it stayed consistent for this month. So why is that, right? Well, it's probably because there's more inventory. We're seeing more inventory hitting the market. What's this original list price ratio to residential? Look at how this has come down. So people are having to adjust their pricing, albeit a very small amount. We are seeing price adjustments on the MLS to get rentals rented. 92.7% is the original list price to what they had to drop it to get it done. Look at where we were back in December. Brutal. 94%. So, everybody was hopeful back here when we had all these great rental rates, and all of a sudden at the end of last year we saw it fall off, which we did. And then, I think this is very telling. So right now, when it comes to making a decision as to whether or not you should keep the tenant in at the current rate, whether you should change that up, mix it up, it is going to be specific to, your particular property, however, and how long the tenant has been there. But I hope this information is helpful in just making sure that that this market is not like some people are thinking, oh, the rental rates are continuing to go up because there's such a crazy shortage of housing. Yes, there is still a shortage of housing. However, the stuff that we're getting may or may not support, what we're seeing here. What we're also seeing is the average price of the rentals that we have is going up because we're taking on a lot of more high-end properties due to the short-term rental market kind of falling in on itself a little bit. So because of that, how much are these numbers, when we look at prices for residential like this one, you'd assumed it is going down, but this uptick in price for a new median list price, I wonder if that's solely because the values of those that are being added to the MLS is just significantly higher than it's been in the past, or maybe just a little bit higher. Cool. I hope this information helps. One last bit of info that I wanted to share with you. This is a really cool graph from the Cromford Report. Tina Tambor put this out and showed the months of supply for Queen Creek. So this is a Queen Creek zip code. And I thought this was very interesting because in 2021, we saw this consistency in months of supply. There was nothing. Look at how little that is. That's insane. This was that frenzy, right? And here, let's see, what if we added 2020? Even 2020. I mean, look at what 2020 is doing here. We have 2020, it hit the doldrums where in July of 2020 was when there was nothing on the market. So if somebody says, when did that market just absolutely go gangbusters? Yep, July of 2020 was when there was nothing left on the market. That went with nothing left on the market through 2021 to 2022, and 2022, April, here's May, 1 month of inventory. July, more than 2 months of supply of inventory, and then it jumped up from there. But look at where we were at the end of last year in December. Remember when we took everything off the market? Look at what happened there. We had 6 months supply of flipping houses at the end of last year. We went from less than a month's supply to a 6-month supply. That's nuts. That's pretty insane. And now, this year, look at this. From more than 5 months supply, down to 2 months supply. Dang, that's legit. So on the sales side, this is still where we are. And this says months of supply excluding under contract accepting backups and contingent closing buyer sale. So basically, if somebody has like a contingency in their offer, that would be clarified. It would be designated as this. So cool. I hope this information is helpful. The stuff that Cromford Reports provides is really, really amazing, and we're happy that they're able to provide that. But check out, again, Queen Creek. If you look at any other zip codes, it doesn't quite perform the same way that this does. Queen Creek is exceptionally consistent. It was all newer construction after the 2000s that the boom hit there really hard. So you've got a lot of properties out there that are very, very similar in age, in square footage, in condition. And it's an easy one to get these types of numbers. Plus the sample size was strong enough to show that as well. That's why they used the Queen Creek. If you did it with any other zip code, it probably wouldn't look the same. It would be a little more jacked up. But cool. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this information helps. Have an amazing weekend, fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to you. I hope you are taken care of this weekend, and look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care.